because I used profanity in the first one and the second one. This is Not So Round Table, Scene 3 Alpha, Scene 3 Alpha, take 2. Okay, here we go. Clap it.
Hold on, Alex is calling me. No, I'll just ignore him. How do I ignore?
I don't know, just set it down.
Just close it.
Yeah, that's fine. Welcome back once again, Airsofters, to another edition of the Not So Round Table. George and I are here once again. We finished up doing some really cool videos today, talking about the EGLM. If that's not up yet, it will be up soon because it's a pretty cool device. And then, as for that, let's answer some more questions that you guys posed to us in the last couple Not So Round Tables. We did. So you want to start us off?
Yeah. Also, before we do that, let me clarify that we are not taking any of the questions out of these, so you guys don't need to keep posting your questions. We have a few that are duplicates. Your question is already in here, and we're going to keep adding and adding. Eventually, we'll probably clear the helmet when it gets too busy, but overall, we're gonna try to get.
Okay, yeah.
You get the idea, right?
So yeah, so I mean, your questions aren't taken out of the helmet after each video. If your question was in a previous video, it's still here. We just haven't answered it yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go first. Let's see. Okay, the real Enzo. Ferrari. Anyway, what is your opinion on dual wielding in general?
We just talked about that with the swordfish.
Yeah, I don't like dual wielding. I think it's kind of stupid.
Anything else you'd like to say?
We actually, when we went to Burrow Canyon like 2 years ago, we tried this, or at least somebody asked me to try it.
With real guns.
With real guns, shooting a 40 cal and a 9. And it's completely stupid. You can't really maintain any sort of accuracy in real life, and it's actually probably more dangerous than
for real guns.
For real guns.
For airsoft, I feel like it looks really cool, but okay, I'm a right-handed shooter, right? So that means for the most part I'm right-eye dominant, right? Because you tend to focus with your handed eye. So if I'm right-handed, I tend to focus with my right eye, which means that I'm always going to be putting more attention towards my right hand gun. So even if I'm dual wielding, really all my aim is going down my right arm. So this one is either for filler or to blind fire because I'm not focusing with my left hand.
I don't think you could do it like in a direction of going two different directions.
You'd have to have it
like this.
Forward.
I think probably I remember like movies glorify this. The only time I ever saw it that was actually maybe could work was in Mission Impossible 2. When Tom Cruise was using he wasn't really firing with both. He was using one, then the other.
True. Okay.
I mean,
well, okay, but what about
But most people aren't very good at shooting with their offhand, especially with a pistol. Usually,
unless you're Jason Bourne. Then you have like a revolver that's upside down,
with a pinky.
That's pinky firing with no recoil, and just taking out a dude and then riding him like a horse down the stairwell. Anyway, Jason Bourne.
All right, next question.
All right, and we've got.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. This one's from Derek Tarnawa. Hello, Not So Round Table goers. My question for you. How do you feel about full auto versus semi-auto for indoor games? Personally, I feel that full auto indoors is not only overkill, but it's also very unrealistic, since SWAT teams don't spray down rooms with hundreds of rounds for fear of blue on blue. By blue on blue, he means friendly fire.
You go first. This is a good question.
Okay, well, first we have to. From my understanding, airsoft as a sport is not terribly realistic for indoor play. I imagine you're talking about like CQB games, right? Not big milsim events. So if we're talking about just 5-minute CQB games in an indoor field, you're not technically going for the most realistic stuff anyway, because people's loadouts don't reflect realistic function, and all the stuff that you've put on your gun doesn't necessarily reflect realistic function. So shooting semi-auto versus full auto, sure. I mean, you don't necessarily need to go full auto spray and pray, but I think there is a certain advantage from burst fire or putting more rounds down range, because ultimately when you've got a team of guys that all need to move effectively, CQB or outdoor, indoor or outdoor, you need to be able to provide covering fire, and semi-auto isn't necessarily the most effective at doing that,
I guess I like semi-auto in indoor games personally. I think that is more realistic. What I like about it is when you're playing, you're able to actually maneuver because not everybody can just spray a corner or spray a lane, as you would call it in like paintball, where you just can keep somebody pinned down. You can't keep people pinned down as much because it's one shot. And it also makes you kind of think a little bit more about what you're shooting at. I think that brings out the game a little bit more. I personally like it. That's why I run a GBB indoors. It makes it a lot more fun for me. Auto, I get it. In outdoors, what people forget sometimes is like, hey, why don't you use semi-auto outdoors? Well, it's not a real gun. It doesn't have the range that
or the accuracy
that a real AR does. And that's why
you need
more rounds because A, you have to hit them. B, they have to feel it. You know, maybe if it's far enough away, they won't even feel the BB hit them.
Sure.
If it's one BB out of a bunch of. So I mean, spraying there makes sense.
Okay.
Or not spraying, but full auto outdoors makes sense because you're throwing more rounds down range to simulate one round in real life.
That makes sense to me. Okay, so from your analysis, like that makes sense to do indoor as a semi only because it's causing you to think more tactically. So, okay, that makes sense.
We're rolling pretty good today.
George is not feeling so well today.
Yeah. Oh, this is pretty funny, actually.
Shades loves this question.
Okay.
So it's a shame he's not here to smile for us.
Jamie Hallett. Hey, Matt, what's the difference between a Daytona gun and a Polar Star?
Okay.
This is just right up our alley because of...
We were just playing with a Daytona gun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, a Polar Star uses the tank system, and all the gas goes forward. So think of it like a non-blowback gas pistol. All of your gas is expelled forward, and then you can do a little electronic adjustments with the circuit board and things. Daytona gun, on the other hand, while using a tank system, does not have an electronic controller. It doesn't use a circuit board or a battery. It's a simple gas blowback gun, but instead of using a gas-filled magazine, it uses an AEG mag, and then it's powered by the air tank. Yes. So that gives you a variety of realistic functions that necessarily a Polar Star doesn't, and that's the recoil, which, by the way, is...
It's
substantial.
It's higher than a gas blowback.
And it gives you some more realism because you can't really ramp it up to like 30 a second or 40 a second. With that said, a Daytona gun is not necessarily the most gas efficient design because you're expelling so much gas to make it blow back. If your standard air tank lasts 6,000 rounds, all of a sudden you're shooting maybe 4,000 rounds or 3,500 rounds. So something to be aware of.
And the cost is actually about the same. It basically is about the same after you build it. Different platforms, though. You're building one off of a GBB and one off of an AEG body.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
But both are good platforms for the people who want something that runs off HPA.
Yeah. All right.
Last question.
Last question of the day. What do we get? This question is from Hyatt Frank. What are your thoughts on the relation between video gaming and Airsoft? For me personally, Battlefield was a getaway to Airsoft, and it seems gateway. Sorry, and it seems like a logical connection to make.
Video games. I mean, I've been playing video games for a long time. You have too. We both played a lot of old school Counter-Strike, a lot of old school Medal of Honor. That was before they even made it.
Well, that's what got me into Airsoft.
Yeah, I know.
Counter-Strike.
The original Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. The kind of, I call them the more classic good games. I don't really like the new first person shooters very much personally.
Before Source.
And I don't really get the relation between Airsoft and games. I get that a lot of people who play both or like come from one go to the other or vice versa, but there are people out there who just like Airsoft and don't really like video games. I'm probably one of those people. I like getting out and doing things more than playing video games now, just personally.
I love that there's a relationship between video games and Airsoft, and this is why. Previously, before Airsoft was as popular as it was, you had a lot of guys that would literally sit for hours at a time playing Counter-Strike or playing any other variety of combat shooter video games, and that's all you did. You didn't get out and exercise necessarily. Yeah. You didn't. You were kind of a couch potato. And with the advent of Airsoft and its popularity, I feel like more people are getting out and doing the things they enjoy on the computer, but in a physical way. And so, if we can continue making Airsoft, a gateway, like you said, for other video game players to join something they can do physically and keep in a healthy form of exercise while also doing something they enjoy doing on the computer.
Yeah. Plus meet people.
Great. Yeah. And it's a great way to network. I've met so many airsofters that also play video games that I can then, hang out with online or play video games with. And so that was really cool for me as well because I can build friendships on multiple levels. So that was great. No, that is not even.
All right, guys, that's it for the Not So Roundtable for today. Please submit your questions below. We make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know if you're liking the show. We're going to try to do it every week. Maybe it'll just be me and Matt sometimes. Sometimes we'll bring on extra employees or guests every once in a while. And
I think Jet's coming back next week, and then maybe we'll get some more interesting guests.
Yeah, we have a few people we've been in contact with, and if you ever want to be on the show, just hit us up, maybe.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Bring on a local guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thanks again for watching. Like George said, make sure you like the video, please. Lets us know that we're doing something right, and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys next week.
He just saluted you.
This is a terrible salute.
I know.